The world hums with a quiet insistence, a rhythm that pulses beneath the surface of all things. You feel it sometimes, don't you? In the stillness of early morning, when the air is cool and the earth seems to hold its breath, or in the soft descent of evening, when the sky blushes with the colors of surrender. It is the rhythm of life itself, a current that flows without ceasing, carrying all things in its gentle embrace. And yet, so often you resist it. You cling to the banks of this river, afraid to let go, afraid to trust its course. But what if, just for a moment, you allowed yourself to float? What if you stopped fighting the current and simply let it carry you? Imagine yourself as a leaf, delicate and weightless, drifting on the surface of a vast, tranquil river. The water moves with a purpose you cannot see, yet it knows where it is going. It does not hurry, nor does it falter. It simply flows. And you, the leaf, are carried along, not as a passive observer, but as a part of the river itself. There is no need to struggle, no need to question. The river is your guide, and it will take you where you need to go. Can you feel it? The way the water cradles you, the way it whispers to you in a language older than words? It is telling you something you already know but have perhaps forgotten. Everything is as it should be. Life, like the river, is not something to be controlled. It is something to be experienced. You cannot force the water to flow faster or slower, nor can you change its direction. You can only choose how you respond to it. Will you fight against it, exhausting yourself in a futile attempt to bend it to your will? Or will you surrender to it, allowing it to carry you with grace and ease? The choice is yours, but know this: the river does not judge. It does not care whether you resist or yield. It simply flows, indifferent to your struggles, yet always ready to support you when you are ready to let go. And what of the storms that sometimes rage upon its surface? The winds that whip the water into chaos, the rain that falls in torrents obscuring your vision? Even then, the river remains unchanged. Beneath the turbulence, it is still the same steady current, the same unwavering force. The storm will pass, as all storms do, and the river will continue on its way. Can you see the lesson here? The storms of life, the moments of fear and uncertainty, are not the river. They are merely ripples on its surface, temporary disturbances that cannot alter its essence. You are not the storm. You are the river. There is a deep peace in this realization, a peace that comes from knowing that you are part of something greater than yourself. You are not alone, adrift in a vast and indifferent universe. You are connected to all things, to the earth, the sky, the stars. You are a part of the river, and the river is a part of you. This connection is your anchor, your source of strength. It is what allows you to face the storms with courage, to navigate the rapids with grace. It is what reminds you that, no matter how turbulent the surface may become, the depths are always calm. And what of the seasons, the cycles of growth and decay that shape the world around you? The river, too, is subject to these changes. In the spring, it swells with the melting snow, its waters rushing with newfound energy. In the summer, it slows, its surface shimmering in the heat of the sun. In the fall, it carries the leaves that have fallen from the trees, a reminder of the impermanence of all things. And in the winter, it freezes, its surface still and silent, waiting for the return of spring. Each season has its purpose, its place in the cycle of life. And so it is with you. The seasons of your life, the moments of joy and sorrow, of growth and stagnation, are all part of the same cycle. They are not separate from you, but a part of you. They are the river, and you are the river. Can you see the beauty in this? The way the river embraces all things, the way it accepts the seasons without resistance. It does not cling to the warmth of summer, nor does it mourn the cold of winter. It simply flows, adapting to the changes, yet remaining true to its nature. And so it is with you. You are not defined by the seasons of your life, by the moments of triumph or despair. You are defined by your ability to flow, to adapt, to remain true to yourself. This is the essence of inner peace, the peace that comes from knowing that you are part of something greater, something eternal. And yet, so often you forget this. You become caught up in the storms, in the seasons, in the endless cycle of thoughts and emotions that swirl within you. You forget that you are the river, that you are part of the flow. You forget that everything is as it should be. But the river does not forget. It is always there, always flowing, always reminding you of the truth. All you need to do is listen. Listen to the sound of the water, the way it whispers to you in the stillness. Listen to the rhythm of your breath, the way it rises and falls like the tides. Listen to the beat of your heart, the way it echoes the pulse of the universe. This is the voice of the river, the voice of life itself. It is calling to you, inviting you to let go, to surrender, to flow. And when you do, when you allow yourself to be carried by the current, something remarkable happens. The storms no longer frighten you. The seasons no longer define you. You become the river, and the river becomes you. You are no longer separate from the world, but a part of it. You are no longer at odds with life, but in harmony with it. This is the peace you have been seeking, the peace that comes from knowing that everything is as it should be. It is not something you need to find, for it has always been within you. It is the river, and you are the river. So take a deep breath and let go. Let the current carry you. Let the rhythm of life guide you. Trust in the flow, for it knows where it is going. Trust in yourself, for you are the flow. And know that no matter where the river takes you, everything is as it should be. Everything is in its place. Everything is at peace. The world hums with a quiet insistence, a rhythm that pulses beneath the surface of all things. You feel it sometimes, don't you? In the stillness of early morning, when the air is cool and the earth seems to hold its breath, or in the soft descent of evening, when the sky blushes with the colors of surrender. It is the rhythm of life itself, a current that flows without ceasing, carrying all things in its gentle embrace. And yet, so often you resist it. You cling to the banks of this river, afraid to let go, afraid to trust its course. But what if, just for a moment, you allowed yourself to float? What if you stopped fighting the current and simply let it carry you? Imagine yourself as a leaf, delicate and weightless, drifting on the surface of a vast, tranquil river. The water moves with a purpose you cannot see, yet it knows where it is going. It does not hurry, nor does it falter. It simply flows. And you, the leaf, are carried along, not because you have chosen the direction, but because you have surrendered to the movement. There is no struggle here, no need to control or resist. There is only the quiet acceptance of the journey. Can you feel it? The way the water cradles you, the way it whispers to you in a language older than words. It is telling you something you already know but have perhaps forgotten. Everything is as it should be. Life, like the river, is not something to be conquered or mastered. It is something to be experienced, to be felt in the depths of your being. And yet, so often, you approach it as though it were a problem to be solved, a puzzle to be unraveled. You worry about the future, you regret the past, and in doing so, you miss the only moment that is truly real. This one. The present moment is not a stepping stone to somewhere else. It is the destination. It is the only place where life is happening, the only place where you can truly be alive. And yet, how often do you find yourself elsewhere, lost in the labyrinth of your thoughts, your fears, your desires? Consider the tree outside your window. It does not worry about the changing seasons. It does not resist the falling of its leaves in autumn, nor does it fear the coming of winter. It simply is. It stands rooted in the earth, reaching toward the sky, and it trusts in the natural order of things. It knows that spring will come again, that new life will emerge from the cold, hard ground. And so it waits, not with impatience or anxiety, but with a quiet confidence, a deep knowing that all is well. Can you learn from the tree? Can you find within yourself that same trust, that same acceptance of the ebb and flow of life. The truth is, you are already whole. You are already complete. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to achieve to be at peace. Peace is not something you find outside of yourself. It is something you uncover within. It is the still, quiet center of your being, the part of you that remains untouched by the chaos of the world. It is the part of you that knows without doubt or hesitation that everything is as it should be. And yet so often you look for peace in the wrong places. You seek it in the approval of others, in the accumulation of possessions, in the pursuit of success. But these things are like shadows, fleeting and insubstantial. They cannot give you what you truly seek. What if, instead of chasing after peace, you simply allowed it to be? What if you stopped trying to fix yourself, to improve yourself, and instead accepted yourself exactly as you are? This is not a call to complacency or resignation. It is an invitation to radical honesty, to a deep and abiding self-acceptance. It is the recognition that you are enough just as you are. You do not need to be more or less or different. You are already perfect in your imperfection, whole in your brokenness, complete in your incompleteness. Can you see it? Can you feel it? The truth of who you are, beneath the layers of fear and doubt, beneath the stories you tell yourself about who you should be. The mind is a powerful thing, but it is not always your friend. It has a tendency to wander, to dwell on the past, to project into the future. It creates stories, narratives that may or may not be true, and it clings to them with a tenacity that can be both admirable and exhausting. But the mind is not who you are. It is a tool, an instrument, and like any tool, it can be used wisely or unwisely. The key is to become aware of its workings, to observe its patterns without judgment, without attachment. When you can do this, you begin to see that the mind is like a cloud passing across the sky. It may obscure the sun for a moment, but it cannot extinguish it. The sun is always there, shining brightly, just as your true nature is always there, waiting to be discovered. There is a story in the Buddhist tradition about a man who is walking through a forest at night. He is lost and he is afraid. Suddenly, he sees a snake coiled in the path ahead of him. His heart races, his breath quickens, and he is filled with terror. But as he approaches, he realizes that it is not a snake at all. It is a piece of rope, twisted and tangled, lying in the dirt. In that moment, his fear dissolves, and he laughs at his own foolishness. The snake was never real. It was only a projection of his mind. And yet, for a moment, it had the power to fill him with dread. Can you see the parallel? The fears and anxieties that plague you, the worries that keep you up at night, are they not like the snake in the story? Are they not projections of your mind? Illusions that have no real substance? The practice of mindfulness is the practice of seeing things as they are, not as you imagine them to be. It is the practice of bringing your attention back to the present moment again and again, no matter how many times it wanders. It is the practice of observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment, without attachment, and without resistance. When you can do this, you begin to see that the mind is like a mirror, reflecting the world but not creating it. The thoughts and feelings that arise are not you. They are simply passing phenomena, like clouds in the sky or waves on the ocean. They come and they go, and you, the observer, remain unchanged. There is a deep wisdom in the practice of letting go. It is not about giving up or resigning yourself to fate. It is about releasing the grip of the ego, the part of you that clings to control, to certainty, to the illusion of permanence. It is about trusting in the natural flow of life, in the intelligence of the universe. When you let go, you open yourself to the possibility of something greater, something beyond the limited perspective of the mind. You open yourself to the infinite, to the eternal, to the boundless love that is the essence of all things. And in that openness, you find peace. The journey of life is not a straight line. It is a spiral, a winding path that leads you ever deeper into the heart of who you are. Along the way, you will encounter challenges, obstacles, and moments of doubt. But these are not signs of failure. They are opportunities for growth, for transformation. They are the universe's way of inviting you to go deeper, to let go of what no longer serves you, to embrace the truth of your being. And so, when you find yourself in the midst of difficulty, when you feel lost or uncertain, remember this: you are exactly where you need to be. Everything is unfolding as it should. Trust the process. Trust the journey. Trust yourself. In the end, there is nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to achieve. There is only this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. There is only the river flowing endlessly, carrying you home. And there is only you, whole and complete, exactly as you are. Can you feel it? The peace that comes from knowing that everything is as it should be? The joy that arises from simply being alive? It is here, now, in this moment. All you have to do is open your heart and let it in. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast, still lake. Its surface reflects the sky above, a mirror of infinite blue, broken only by the occasional ripple of a passing breeze. You notice how the water does not resist the wind, nor does it cling to it. It simply allows the movement to pass through, returning to stillness once more. This is the nature of things, impermanent, yet always returning to balance. You too are like this lake. Beneath the ripples of your thoughts, beneath the currents of your worries, there is a stillness that remains untouched. It is not something you need to create or achieve. It is already there, waiting for you to notice it. Life flows like a river, winding through valleys and over stones, sometimes gentle, sometimes turbulent. You may find yourself caught in the rush of its current, carried away by the force of your fears or desires. But the river does not struggle. It does not resist the rocks or the bends in its path. It simply moves, always finding its way. There is a wisdom in this flow, a quiet trust in the natural order of things. You too can learn to move with this trust, to let go of the need to control every twist and turn. The river does not ask, "Why is this happening?" It simply is, and so are you. Consider the seasons, how they change without effort or complaint. Winter does not cling to the cold. Spring does not hurry the blossoms. Each season knows its time, and in that knowing there is a deep acceptance. You too are part of this cycle. There are times of growth and times of letting go, times of light and times of shadow. Each has its purpose, its place in the greater unfolding. When you resist the season you are in, you create suffering. When you accept it, you find peace. Not because the season changes, but because your relationship to it does. In the quiet of your mind, there is a space where all is well. It is not dependent on the circumstances of your life, nor on the thoughts that pass through your awareness. It is a place of pure being, untouched by the storms that rage on the surface. You do not need to quiet the storm to find this space. You only need to turn your attention inward, to the stillness that lies beneath. It is like the eye of a hurricane, a place of calm in the midst of chaos. When you rest here, even for a moment, you remember that all is well. Not because the world has changed, but because you have touched something deeper, something eternal. The mind is like a sky, vast and open, capable of holding clouds of every shape and color. Sometimes the clouds are light and airy, bringing joy and clarity. Sometimes they are dark and heavy, bringing fear and doubt. But the sky does not judge the clouds. It does not try to hold on to the pleasant ones or push away the unpleasant ones. It simply allows them to pass. Your mind too can learn this openness, this non-attachment. When you see your thoughts as clouds passing through the sky of your awareness, you realize that they are not you. They are just weather, temporary and ever-changing. There is a story of an old Zen master who was asked, "How do you find peace in the midst of chaos?" He replied, "I do not seek peace. I simply do not disturb it." This is the essence of acceptance. Not striving, not resisting, but allowing. When you stop trying to fix, to change, to control, you discover that peace has been there all along, waiting for you to stop disturbing it. It is like the still lake, the flowing river, the changing seasons, always present, always perfect in its own way. In the quiet moments of your life, when you pause and breathe deeply, you may feel a sense of connection to something greater than yourself. It is not something you can name or define, but you know it is there, like the hum of the universe beneath the noise of the world. This connection is your true nature, the essence of who you are. It is not something you need to find or achieve. It is something you already are. When you rest in this knowing, you find that the worries of the world lose their grip on you. They do not disappear, but they no longer define you. The practice of acceptance is not about giving up or resigning yourself to life. It is about opening to what is with a heart that is willing to see the beauty in every moment, even the difficult ones. It is about trusting the flow of life, even when you cannot see the way forward. It is about remembering that you are part of something vast and eternal, something that cannot be broken or lost. So, when the waves of worry rise within you, when the storms of fear threaten to overwhelm you, remember the still lake, the flowing river, the changing seasons. Remember the sky that holds the clouds, the eye of the hurricane, the hum of the universe. Remember that beneath the surface of your thoughts, there is a stillness that is always there, waiting for you to return to it. And when you do, you will find that all is well, not because the world has changed, but because you have come home to yourself. The world is vast, and yet it fits within the palm of your hand. Not the physical world, of course, but the world as you perceive it. The world as it exists in your mind. You carry it everywhere, this weight of thoughts, this tapestry of worries and hopes, fears and dreams. And yet there is a quiet place within you, a stillness that has always been there, waiting for you to return. It is not a place you need to create or earn. It is already here, like the deep, silent core of a mountain, unmoved by the storms that rage on its surface. Imagine for a moment that you are standing by the edge of a vast forest. The trees stretch endlessly before you, their leaves whispering secrets in a language older than time. The forest is alive, teeming with life, yet it is also profoundly still. It does not rush, it does not fret, it simply is. You step inside and the noise of the world begins to fade. The chatter of the mind, the tug of responsibilities, the weight of expectations, they dissolve into the soft rustle of leaves underfoot. Here in this place, you are reminded that life is not a battle to be fought, but a flow to be embraced. We often think of life as a river, rushing forward, carrying us along its currents. But what if we pause to consider that we are not merely passengers on this river? What if we are the river itself, flowing and shaping, being shaped in turn? The river does not resist the rocks that block its path. It flows around them, over them, through them. It does not cling to the banks or try to hold on to the water it has already passed. It simply moves, moment by moment, fully present in its journey. You too are like this river. Your thoughts, your emotions, your experiences, they are the water that flows through you. Sometimes the currents are gentle and you move with ease. Other times they are turbulent and you feel as though you are being pulled under. But even in the chaos, there is a rhythm, a natural order. The river does not judge its flow. It does not label one moment as good and another as bad. It simply accepts what is, and in that acceptance, it finds its freedom. There is a Buddhist teaching that speaks of the two arrows. The first arrow is the pain of life, the inevitable suffering that comes with being human. The second arrow is the one we shoot ourselves, the suffering we create through our resistance, our judgments, our clinging. When we refuse to accept what is, we pierce ourselves with the second arrow, amplifying our pain. But when we let go, when we allow life to unfold without adding our own struggle, we find that the first arrow is bearable. It is not the pain that destroys us, but our refusal to let it pass through us. Think of a leaf falling from a tree in autumn. It does not cling to the branch, nor does it resist the pull of gravity. It simply lets go, drifting gently to the ground. It does not worry about where it will land or whether it will be seen. It trusts in the natural order of things, and in that trust it finds peace. You too can learn to let go in this way, not because you are indifferent, but because you understand that clinging only tightens the knots of your suffering. There is a quiet wisdom in the heart of every storm. It whispers to you, reminding you that nothing lasts forever. The storm will pass, the clouds will part, and the sun will shine again. But even in the midst of the storm, there is beauty to be found. The rain nourishes the earth, the wind clears away the old, making space for the new. And you, standing in the center of it all, are not separate from this process. You are a part of it, integral and whole. When you feel the weight of worry pressing down on you, remember that it is not the burden itself that is heavy, but the way you carry it. You can choose to set it down, even if only for a moment. You can choose to sit with it, to examine it without judgment, to see it for what it truly is. Often you will find that what you thought was a mountain is only a shadow, cast by the light of your own fears. There is a truth that lies beneath the surface of all things, a truth that is simple yet profound. Everything is already as it should be. This does not mean that life is perfect or that you will never face challenges. It means that in this moment right now, there is nothing to fix, nothing to change, nothing to fear. The world is not broken, and neither are you. You are exactly where you need to be, exactly as you are. You might wonder how to live in a world that so often feels chaotic and uncertain. The answer is not to control the chaos, but to find peace within it. It is to look at the world with the eyes of a child, curious and open, unburdened by the weight of expectations. It is to see the beauty in the ordinary, the sacred in the mundane. A cup of tea, a breath of fresh air, the sound of birdsong, these are not small things. They are the essence of life, the threads that weave the tapestry of your existence. As you move through your days, remember that you are not separate from the world around you. You are a part of it, just as the stars are part of the night sky, just as the waves are part of the ocean. You do not need to strive or struggle to belong. You already do. You are already whole, already complete. And so, when you find yourself caught in the whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, take a moment to pause, breathe deeply, and feel the ground beneath your feet. Remember that you are not alone, that you are connected to something greater than yourself. You are the river, the forest, the leaf falling gently to the ground. You are the stillness at the heart of the storm. In this moment, there is nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to become. You are already here. You are already enough. And everything in this moment is already as it should be. The world hums with a quiet insistence, a rhythm that pulses beneath the surface of all things. You feel it sometimes, don't you? In the stillness of early morning, when the air is cool and the earth seems to hold its breath, or in the soft descent of evening, when the sky blushes with the colors of surrender. It is the rhythm of life itself, a current that flows without ceasing, carrying all things in its gentle embrace. And yet, so often, you resist it. You cling to the banks of this river, afraid to let go, afraid to trust its course. But what if, just for a moment, you allowed yourself to float? What if you stopped fighting the current and simply let it carry you? Imagine yourself as a leaf, delicate and weightless, drifting on the surface of a vast, tranquil river. The water moves with a purpose you cannot see, yet it knows where it is going. It does not hurry, nor does it falter. It simply flows. And you, the leaf, are carried along, not as a passive observer, but as a part of the river itself. There is no need to struggle, no need to question. The river is your guide, and it will take you where you need to go. Can you feel it? The way the water cradles you, the way it whispers to you in a language older than words. It is telling you something you already know deep within your heart. Everything is as it should be. You see, the river does not judge. It does not distinguish between the leaf and the stone, the calm and the storm. It accepts all things as they are, And in that acceptance, it finds peace, and so can you. For peace is not something you must seek or create. It is already here, within you, like the stillness at the center of a spinning wheel. It is the part of you that remains untouched by the chaos of the world, the part that knows without doubt that you are exactly where you need to be. But how do you find this peace when the world feels so loud, so demanding? How do you quiet the mind that races like a wild horse, pulling you in 1,000 directions at once? The answer is simple, though not always easy. You stop trying. You stop trying to control, to fix, to change. You stop trying to be anything other than what you are in this moment. For it is in the trying that you create the struggle. It is in the resistance that you lose yourself. Think of the seasons. They do not fight their own nature. The trees do not cling to their leaves in autumn, nor do they resist the new growth of spring. They simply allow. They trust the cycle of life, knowing that each season has its purpose, its beauty. And so it is with you. Each moment, each experience is a season of its own. Some are warm and gentle, like the soft light of summer. Others are cold and harsh, like the biting wind of winter. But each one is necessary. Each one is a part of the whole. When you resist the difficult seasons, when you try to hold on to the ones that feel good, you create suffering. You create a tension within yourself, a dissonance that pulls you away from the natural flow of life. But when you accept, when you surrender to the moment as it is, you find peace. You find a quiet joy that does not depend on the circumstances of your life. It is the joy of being alive, of being a part of this vast, interconnected web of existence. And yet acceptance does not mean passivity. It does not mean giving up or resigning yourself to a life of quiet despair. Acceptance is an active, dynamic process. It is a choice you make in each moment, a choice to meet life with an open heart, no matter what it brings. It is a choice to see the beauty in the ordinary, the sacred in the mundane. It is a choice to love, even when love feels difficult. For love, in its purest form, is acceptance. It is the recognition that all things are connected, that all things are one. So when you feel the weight of the world pressing down on you, when you feel the pull of anxiety or fear, remember the river, remember the leaf. Remember that you are a part of something greater than yourself, something that flows with a wisdom beyond your understanding. You do not need to know the destination. You do not need to have all the answers. All you need to do is trust. Trust the river. Trust the seasons. Trust yourself. And in that trust, you will find peace. Not the peace of a world without challenges, but the peace of a heart that knows it can weather any storm. For you are not separate from the river. You are the river, and the river is eternal. Imagine for a moment standing on the edge of a vast meadow. The grass sways gently, a sea of green undulating in the breeze, as if the earth itself is breathing. The sky above is a soft, endless blue, unmarked by the chaos of clouds. Here in this stillness, there is no urgency, no demand, only the quiet rhythm of existence. You breathe in, and the air carries the scent of wildflowers, faint and sweet. You exhale, and the tension in your shoulders begins to dissolve. This is the space you've been searching for, though perhaps you didn't realize it until now. It is the space within you, always present, always waiting. Life, as you know it, is much like this meadow. It unfolds in its own time, its own way, untouched by the frantic pace of your thoughts. The seasons come and go. The grass grows tall, then browns, then lies dormant under the snow. Yet beneath it all, the roots remain, alive and steady. You too have roots, deep, unshakable, and eternal. They anchor you to the earth, to the essence of who you are. But so often, you forget. You cling to the surface, to the fleeting colors and shapes, and lose yourself in the turbulence of the wind. Consider the mind, that restless wanderer. It flits from thought to thought, like a butterfly darting from flower to flower, never settling for long. It worries about the future, mourns the past, and in doing so, it overlooks the present. Yet the present is all there ever is. The past is a shadow, the future a mirage. Only now is real, only now is alive. To rest in the present, this is the secret, the key to peace. But it is not something you must strive for, not a destination to reach. It is already here within you, beneath the layers of noise and distraction. Think of a still pond, its surface smooth as glass. When the wind blows, ripples form, distorting the reflection of the sky. The mind is like this pond. Thoughts are the wind, stirring the water, creating waves of worry and doubt. But when the wind ceases, the pond returns to its natural state of calm. You need not fight the wind nor erase the ripples. Instead, you can simply observe, allowing the mind to settle on its own. This is the practice of acceptance, of letting be. You are not the wind nor the ripples. You are the pond, vast and unshaken. There is a story of an old monk who lived by a mountain stream. Each day he would sit by the water, watching it flow. One day a young disciple asked him, "Master, why do you spend so much time watching the stream?" The monk smiled and replied, "The stream teaches me everything I need to know. It flows without hesitation, without resistance. It does not cling to the rocks, nor does it fear the falls. It simply moves, trusting the path it is on." The disciple nodded, but he did not understand. Years later, when he had experienced the weight of his own struggles, he returned to the stream. This time he sat beside it, and at last he saw what the monk had seen. The stream was not just water, it was life itself, flowing endlessly, effortlessly. You too are a part of this flow. Your worries, your fears, your joys, they are all drops in the stream, passing through but never defining it. To resist the flow is to struggle against the very nature of existence. To accept it is to find harmony, to align yourself with the rhythm of life. This does not mean you must be passive or indifferent. It means you can act without attachment, love without clinging, live without fear. There are moments in life when the weight of the world seems unbearable. You feel as though you are carrying a mountain on your shoulders, each step heavier than the last. Yet even the mountain is not as solid as it appears. Over time, the wind and rain wear it down, grain by grain, until it becomes sand, then soil, then life anew. Your burdens too will shift and change. They are not permanent, no matter how they may feel in the moment. You need not carry them alone. The earth is here to support you, the sky to remind you of your vastness. You are never truly alone, never truly lost. In the stillness of the meadow, you may begin to notice something, a quiet presence, a sense of being. It is not something you can name or define, but you know it is there, like the scent of the wildflowers or the warmth of the sun. This is your true self, untouched by the chaos of the world. It is not separate from the meadow, the stream, or the mountain. It is a part of them, just as they are a part of you. There is no division, no boundary, only wholeness, only oneness. To find peace is not to escape the world, but to see it clearly, to recognize its impermanence and embrace its beauty. It is to live with an open heart, to love without fear, to be present without judgment. You do not need to change who you are or become someone else. You only need to remember what you have always known, deep within. The meadow is within you, the stream is within you, the mountain is within you. You are the stillness, the flow, the strength. You are enough just as you are. As the day fades and the stars begin to appear, take a moment to rest in this knowing. The night is a reminder of the vastness of the universe, of the infinite possibilities that lie within and around you. It is not a time to fear, but to trust, to surrender to the mystery of existence. The stars do not worry about their place in the sky, nor do they strive to shine brighter. They simply are, and in their being, they light up the darkness. You too can be a light, not by doing, but by being, by returning to the essence of who you are. The meadow, the stream, the mountain, they are not just places, they are mirrors, reflecting back to you the truth of your own nature. When you look at them, you are not separate from them. You are one, whole, complete. This is the peace you seek, the peace that has always been within you. It is not something you must find, but something you must remember. And in remembering, you realize that everything is already, always in its place. The air around you is still, but not stagnant. It carries the faint aroma of damp earth after a gentle rain, a reminder that even the driest seasons give way to renewal. You sit here, perhaps in a quiet room or beneath the shelter of an old tree, and you notice how your breath rises and falls like the tide. It is a rhythm as ancient as the earth itself, yet so often overlooked in the rush of days. You are here now, and in this moment, there is no need to hurry. There is no need to fix, to solve, to struggle. There is only the invitation to be still, to let the world unfold around you as it will. You have carried with you the weight of worry, heavy as a stone in your chest. It presses against your ribs, demanding attention, insisting that you act, that you fight, that you resist. But what if, just for now, you set that stone down? Not to dismiss it, not to deny its existence, but to let it rest beside you as a companion rather than an adversary. What if you allowed yourself to see it not as a burden, but as a part of the landscape of your life, as natural as the roots that twist through the soil or the clouds that drift across the sky? Life is not a straight path. It is a winding trail full of bends and dips, shadows and light. Sometimes the way forward seems clear, and other times it is shrouded in mist. Yet even in the moments when you cannot see what lies ahead, you are still moving. The trail does not abandon you, even when you stumble. It is always beneath your feet, steady and unchanging, even as it shifts with the contours of the land. Trust that it will carry you, even when you cannot see where it leads. Trust that the act of walking itself is enough. You have been taught to strive, to push, to achieve. These are not wrong, but they are not the whole truth. There is a deeper rhythm to existence, one that hums beneath the surface of your efforts. It is the rhythm of growth, of change, of becoming. A tree does not strain to grow. It simply reaches toward the sun, its branches stretching in the direction of light. It does not curse its roots for anchoring it to the earth, nor does it resist the seasons that shape its form. It accepts the rain, the wind, the heat, and the cold, knowing that each has its place in the cycle of life. Can you too find that acceptance within yourself? The mind is like a pond, its surface rippled by the winds of thought and emotion. Sometimes the ripples are gentle, barely noticeable. Other times they churn the water into waves, obscuring the depths beneath. But even in the midst of the storm, the pond remains. Its essence is unchanged, its stillness waiting patiently for the winds to die down. You are not the ripples nor the wind. You are the pond itself, vast, deep, and unshakable. When the storms come, as they always will, remember this: you do not need to calm the waters. You only need to remember that they are not you. There is a kind of peace that comes not from the absence of disturbance, but from the presence of understanding. It is the peace of a mountain, standing firm as the seasons change around it. It does not fear the snow that covers its peak or the heat that bakes its slopes. It does not resist the erosion that shapes its form over centuries. It simply is, unmoved by the passing of time. You too can find that mountain within yourself. It is there, waiting for you to return to it, to rest in its solidity, to remember that you are more than the fleeting storms of life. You have been told that you must control, that you must manage, that you must fix. But control is an illusion, a fragile construct that crumbles under the weight of reality. Life is not something to be controlled. It is something to be lived. It flows like a river, carving its own path through the landscape. You can fight against the current, clinging to the banks, or you can let go and allow the river to carry you. There is no right or wrong in this choice, only the recognition that resistance is exhausting, while surrender can be a kind of freedom. Think of the autumn leaves, their colors blazing as they prepare to fall. They do not cling to the branches in fear of what lies below. They release with grace, knowing that their descent is part of a greater cycle. They will nourish the earth, and in time, new leaves will grow in their place. Can you too release what no longer serves you? Not with bitterness or regret, but with the quiet understanding that letting go is not an ending, but a transformation. You have searched for peace in the external world, in achievements, in relationships, in possessions. But peace is not something you can find outside of yourself. It is not a destination, but a state of being. It is the quiet space between thoughts, the stillness beneath the chaos. It is the realization that you are already whole, already complete, just as you are. You do not need to earn it or prove it or fight for it. It is here within you, waiting to be noticed. The world will continue to turn, with or without your permission. Days will dawn and fade, seasons will come and go, and life will unfold in its own time. You cannot stop the tide, nor can you speed it up. All you can do is meet it moment by moment with openness and curiosity. This is not resignation. It is a kind of liberation. It is the understanding that you are part of something vast and beautiful, a thread in the tapestry of existence. So here you are. The air is still, your breath rises and falls, and the world continues to turn. There is no need to hurry, no need to fix, no need to struggle. Simply be. Let the stone of worry rest beside you. Let the river of life carry you. Let the mountain within you stand firm. And in the stillness, in the quiet, you will find that everything is already as it should be. Everything is already in its place. Everything is already and always in order. The world hums with a quiet insistence, a rhythm that pulses beneath the surface of all things. You feel it sometimes, don't you? In the stillness of early morning, when the air is cool and the earth seems to hold its breath. Or in the soft descent of evening, when the sky blushes with the colors of surrender. It is the rhythm of life itself, a current that flows without ceasing, carrying all things in its gentle embrace. And yet, so often, you resist it. You cling to the banks of this river, afraid to let go, afraid to trust its course. But what if, just for a moment, you allowed yourself to float? What if you stopped fighting the current and simply let it carry you? Imagine yourself as a leaf, delicate and weightless, drifting on the surface of a vast, tranquil river. The water moves with a purpose you cannot see, yet it knows where it is going. It does not hurry, nor does it falter. It simply flows, and you, the leaf, are carried along, not as a passive observer, but as an integral part of the journey. You do not need to know the destination. You do not need to control the path. All that is asked of you is to trust that the river knows its way, that it will carry you safely to where you need to be. This is the essence of acceptance. It is not resignation, nor is it indifference. It is a deep, abiding trust in the natural order of things. It is the understanding that life, in all its complexity and unpredictability, is unfolding exactly as it should. When you resist this truth, when you struggle against the current, you create turbulence within yourself. You become like a stone in the river, unmoving and unyielding, battered by the water that flows around you. But when you surrender, when you allow yourself to be carried, you become one with the flow. You find peace not in the absence of movement, but in the harmony of it. Think of the seasons, how they change with a grace that is both inevitable and beautiful. The earth does not mourn the passing of summer, nor does it fear the coming of winter. It simply accepts each season as it arrives, knowing that each has its purpose, its place in the cycle of life. And so it is with you. The seasons of your life, moments of joy and sorrow, growth and stillness, are not to be resisted or feared. They are to be embraced, each one a necessary part of the whole. When you accept this, when you stop clinging to what has passed or longing for what is yet to come, you find a stillness within yourself that is unshakable. This stillness is not the absence of thought or feeling. It is the space between them, the quiet center from which all things arise and to which all things return. It is the place where you can rest, even as the world around you churns and changes. To find this stillness, you need only to turn your attention inward, to listen to the quiet voice that speaks beneath the noise of your mind. It is always there, waiting for you, like a hidden spring in the heart of a forest. When you find it, you will know. It is a peace that cannot be disturbed, a calm that cannot be shaken. And yet, even as you seek this stillness, do not be surprised if you find yourself pulled back into the current of your thoughts and emotions. This is natural. The mind is like a restless bird, flitting from branch to branch, never content to stay in one place for long. Do not try to cage it or force it to be still. Instead, observe it with kindness and curiosity. Watch as it moves, as it settles, as it takes flight again. In this watching, you will find a detachment that is not cold or distant, but warm and compassionate. You will see that your thoughts and emotions are not you. They are like clouds passing across the sky, temporary and ever-changing. And you, the sky, remain vast and unchanging, untouched by their passage. This is the paradox of acceptance. It is not about changing what is, but about changing your relationship to it. It is about seeing things as they are, without judgment or resistance, and finding peace in that seeing. When you do this, you begin to notice that the things that once caused you so much anxiety and worry are not as solid or as permanent as they seemed. They are like shadows, shifting and dissolving in the light of your awareness. And in their place, you find a sense of spaciousness, a freedom that comes from knowing that you are not bound by the circumstances of your life. This freedom is not something that can be grasped or held on to. It is not a destination or a goal. It is a way of being, a way of moving through the world with an open heart and a quiet mind. It is the understanding that you are already whole, already complete, just as you are. You do not need to fix yourself or change yourself to find peace. You need only to return to the truth of who you are, to the stillness that lies at the core of your being. And so, as you go about your days, remember this. You are like the leaf on the river, the sky that holds the clouds, the earth that welcomes the seasons. You are part of something vast and beautiful, something that is always moving, always changing, yet always the same. You do not need to control it or understand it. You need only to trust it, to let it carry you, to let it be. And in that trust, in that letting go, you will find the peace you have been seeking. It has been there all along, waiting for you to notice, waiting for you to come home. The world hums with a quiet insistence, a rhythm that pulses beneath the surface of all things. You feel it sometimes, don't you? In the stillness of early morning, when the air is cool and the earth seems to hold its breath, or in the soft descent of evening, when the sky blushes with the colors of surrender. It is the rhythm of life itself, a current that flows without ceasing, carrying all things in its gentle embrace. And yet, so often, you resist it. You cling to the banks of this river, afraid to let go, afraid to trust its course. But what if, just for a moment, you allowed yourself to float? What if you stopped fighting the current and simply let it carry you? Imagine yourself as a leaf, delicate and weightless, drifting on the surface of a vast, tranquil river. The water moves with a purpose you cannot see, yet it knows where it is going. It does not hurry, nor does it falter. It simply flows. And you, the leaf, are carried along, not because you have chosen the direction, but because you have surrendered to the movement. There is no struggle here, no need to control or resist. There is only the quiet acceptance of the journey. Can you feel it? The way the water cradles you, the way it whispers to you in a language older than words. It is telling you that everything is as it should be, that there is no need to fear, but the mind, ever restless, will try to pull you back. It will whisper its doubts, its fears, its endless questions. What if the river takes me somewhere I do not want to go? What if I am lost? What if I am not ready? These thoughts are like ripples on the surface, disturbances that come and go. They are not the river itself, nor are they you. They are simply passing phenomena, fleeting and insubstantial. Watch them as you would watch clouds drifting across the sky. Notice them, acknowledge them, but do not cling to them. Let them dissolve into the vastness of your awareness, like mist evaporating in the warmth of the sun. There is a deep wisdom in this surrender, a wisdom that the river knows instinctively. It does not resist the rocks or the bends in its path. It does not struggle against the banks that contain it. It simply flows, adapting to whatever it encounters, always moving forward. And in this movement, it finds its peace. You too can find this peace if you are willing to let go of the need to control, to predict, to know. Life is not a puzzle to be solved, nor a destination to be reached. It is a journey, a dance, a song. And like the river, it is always in motion, always changing, always becoming. Think of the seasons, how they turn with a grace that is both inevitable and beautiful. Spring gives way to summer, summer to autumn, autumn to winter, and winter to spring again. Each season has its own rhythm, its own gifts, its own challenges. And yet, there is no resistance, no struggle. The trees do not cling to their leaves when autumn comes, nor do they mourn the loss of the sun in winter. They simply accept the changes, trusting in the cycle of life. And in this acceptance, they find their strength, their resilience, their peace. Can you do the same? Can you trust in the seasons of your own life, knowing that each one has its purpose, its lessons, its beauty? There is a quiet joy in this trust, a joy that comes from knowing that you are part of something greater than yourself. You are not separate from the river, nor from the seasons, nor from the vast, unfolding mystery of life. You are woven into the fabric of existence, a thread in the tapestry of the universe. And just as the river flows and the seasons turn, so too do you move through the cycles of your own life. There is no need to rush, no need to force, no need to resist. Simply be and let life unfold as it will. In this being, in this surrender, you will find a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. It is a peace that comes from within, from the deep knowing that everything is as it should be. It is the peace of the river, the peace of the seasons, the peace of the universe itself, and it is always available to you if you are willing to let go and trust. So take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Feel the weight of your worries, your fears, your doubts dissolve into the air. You do not need to carry them anymore. The river is here, and it is ready to carry you. The seasons are here, and they are ready to guide you. Life is here, and it is ready to embrace you. All you need to do is let go and trust. Everything is in its place. Everything is as it should be. Everything is and always has been in perfect order. The world is a vast, ever-shifting tapestry, and you are a thread within it, woven into its intricate patterns. Yet so often you find yourself tugging against the weave, resisting the natural flow of existence. You worry, you fret, you strain against the current of life, as though your efforts alone could alter the course of the river. But what if, instead of fighting, you allowed yourself to float? What if you trusted the water to carry you, knowing that it has carried countless others before you and will carry countless more after? Consider the willow tree, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. It does not resist the wind. It bends, it yields, and in that yielding it finds its strength. The willow does not ask why the wind blows, nor does it demand that the wind change its course. It simply accepts, and in that acceptance, it remains unbroken. You too can learn from the willow. When the winds of worry and anxiety blow through your mind, do not stiffen against them. Instead, let them pass through you, like air through the leaves. Feel their presence, acknowledge their force, but do not cling to them. They are not you, they are merely passing phenomena, transient and fleeting. The mind is like a lake, its surface often disturbed by ripples of thought and emotion. You may find yourself staring into its depths, searching for clarity, only to see your reflection distorted by the waves. But beneath the surface, there is stillness. Beneath the chaos, there is calm. You do not need to calm the lake. You need only to dive beneath the surface to the place where the water is undisturbed. This is the essence of meditation, not to silence the mind, but to find the silence that already exists within it. Life, too, is a series of waves rising and falling in an endless rhythm. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf them. Each wave carries with it a lesson, a gift, if only you are willing to receive it. The wave of joy teaches you gratitude. The wave of sorrow teaches you compassion. The wave of uncertainty teaches you trust. Even the wave of fear, though it may seem like an enemy, is a teacher. It shows you where you are clinging, where you are resisting, where you are afraid to let go. There is a story of a monk who lived by a river. Every day he would sit by the water's edge, watching it flow. One day a traveler approached him and asked, "Why do you sit here day after day watching the river?" The monk replied, "I am learning to let go." The traveler, puzzled, asked, "What do you mean?" The monk smiled and said, "The river does not hold onto its water. It lets it flow freely and without resistance. In the same way, I am learning to let go of my thoughts, my worries, my fears. I am learning to flow with life rather than against it. You too can learn to let go. You can learn to release the grip of anxiety, the weight of expectation, the burden of control. You can learn to trust the river of life, knowing that it will carry you where you need to go. This does not mean that you will never face challenges or difficulties. It means that you will face them with a heart that is open, a mind that is clear, and a spirit that is free. Think of the seasons, how they change without hesitation or regret. The trees do not mourn the loss of their leaves in autumn. They know that spring will come again. The earth does not resist the cold of winter. It understands that it is part of the cycle. You too are part of a cycle, a rhythm that is greater than yourself. The seasons of your life will change, and with them, your joys and sorrows, your triumphs and struggles. But beneath it all, there is a constant, a stillness that remains unchanged. This stillness is your true nature, the essence of who you are. It is not something you need to create or achieve. It is something you need to remember. It is the quiet voice within you that whispers, "All is well." It is the gentle presence that holds you, even when the world feels chaotic. It is the light that shines in the darkness, guiding you home. So, when you feel the weight of worry pressing down on you, when the noise of the world becomes too loud, when the waves of life seem too overwhelming, remember this: you are not alone. You are part of something vast, something eternal, something beautiful. You are the willow bending in the wind. You are the lake still beneath the surface. You are the river flowing with grace. You are the seasons changing and yet unchanging. And in this moment, right now, all is well. Breathe deeply and let yourself be carried. The river knows the way,